Friday, everybody. Welcome to Fire Your MD. I'm your friendly neighborhood naturopath, Dr. Peter Glidden, telling you like it is, taking the gloves off, bringing you information that literally can save your life. Because Will Rogers, one of my favorite humorists, right up there with Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens, said, one of his more famous quotes, "It ain't what you don't know that'll hurt you. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so." Well, ladies and gentlemen, what just ain't so is the notion of MDs practicing healthcare. They don't do it. As a matter of fact, there should be a law. Hospitals and, modern medical facilities in the United States, they shouldn't be allowed to advertise healthcare because they don't practice healthcare. They practice disease management. And it's pharmaceutical-centrist disease management. There's nothing wrong with pharmaceutical-centrist disease management. But if I pull into Starbucks, I expect coffee. I don't expect pizza. If I pulled into a Starbucks and they only had pizza for sale, well, that wouldn't be right, would it? Well, that's how it is with medicine in the United States. You have been lulled into this false notion that the MD practices healthcare. They don't. If they practiced healthcare, then our health would be getting better, but it is not. According to the World Health Organization, the United States spends approximately 3 times as much per person per year as they do in industrialized nations, places like France and England and Germany and Switzerland, right, Australia. We spend almost 3 times as much per person per year as every other industrialized nation, and for this exorbitant expenditure of funds, we are second from the bottom in the industrialized nations. In the world, we're like 19th, I think. This is according to the CIA. 19th. It's ridiculous. Our medical treatment in the United States stinks. And not only does it stink, not only does it fail to help us, right, because heart disease hasn't changed. There's still as much heart disease now as there was 100 years ago, still as much cancer now as there was 100 years ago. Alzheimer's is on the rise, autism is on the rise, high blood pressure is on the rise, type 2 diabetes is on the rise, obesity is on the rise, life expectancy is falling, all while we've given our medical dollars to the MDs. They have completely let us down, but we do not see it. It is the million-pound, billion-pound gorilla in the middle of the room that nobody's talking about. Very few people even see this gorilla. The fact of the matter is, the reason that our medical expenses are so exorbitant here, the reason that medical care in this country costs so much is because it doesn't work. Your medical doctor can't even cure heartburn. They can manage it with a little purple pill. They can't cure arthritis. They can manage it with Vioxx until your liver explodes or your knee gets so bad they have to replace it with a bright new shiny titanium one. 3 years later, when that knee fails, do they give you a new one? No. They give you your money back? No. They botch the surgery. Is there a refund? No. It's the only for-profit industry in the United States where they have complete sway and you don't have any recompense. You don't have any. I suppose if they really botch it up, you could sue the doctor for malpractice. Well, how much are you going to get? They've all got malpractice insurance. You've got to go through this gigantic rigmarole, and even though there's such horrible outcomes, we still give them our hard-earned money every month. It blows my mind why people do that. Well, I know why they do it, because they don't know there's an alternative. Well, guess what? There is. So continuing yesterday's theme about how to keep your body healthy by making the right decisions in life. Yesterday we talked about the 10 bad foods, 10 foods that nobody should look at, let alone eat. Remember, you can download this list free at fireyourmdnow.com. You can also join our crusade. You can join my health recovery team. I am a representative. I am an independent distributor of the company Youngevity. Youngevity was set up by my colleague, Dr. Wallach, in order to change the way that medicine is practiced in the United States. Dr. Wallach performed $25 million of federally funded research from 1970 to 82 And they eliminated 900 illnesses in the animal kingdom, 900 illnesses. It was a massive research project. They did tens of thousands of autopsies, 10 million blood chemistries. It was a gigantic undertaking. And it eliminated 900 diseases in the animal kingdom. It's why bacon and eggs doesn't cost $200 a plate. And that's why steak and eggs doesn't cost $300 a plate, because the pigs and the chickens and the cows don't get congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, asthma, osteoporosis, anxiety and panic attacks, depression. Poor little piggy won't eat his food, just lying in the corner in the mud. Well, that doesn't happen. You know why it doesn't happen? Because the animals are completely nutrified. And the majority of chronic illnesses are caused by malnutrition. There are over 278 illnesses caused by not enough calcium. But your medical doctor does not know this. Let me give you the short list. Chronic low back pain, most of the time, is a calcium deficiency. Vertigo, ringing in the ears, bad menstrual cramps, restless legs at night in bed, high blood pressure, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, arthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis have their roots in chronic mineral deficiencies with the emphasis on calcium. Which means if you nutrify your body appropriately, all that stuff goes away. And the FDA does not allow us to be able to say we can cure anything. Because according to the FDA, that would be making a drug claim. The only thing that can cure anything is a drug, according to the FDA in the United States of America. And this is how it goes. And there ought to be a law. MDs do bless their hearts. You know, there's a room in the world for MDs, and it's the emergency medical room. But look out, because 51% of them, according to Harvard University, are addicted to street drugs, alcohol, or prescription medicine. You want to roll those dice? Go right ahead. As God is my witness, it's like Alice in Wonderland. You know, war is peace, constant surveillance is freedom. Chronic indebtedness is opulence. Are you kidding me? We're inside out and upside down here in this country. Everybody's sick. And because everybody's sick, everybody just expects it to happen. We're crazy here, and this is why I do this radio show, to pull back the curtain and give some education here that can enlighten you. So here are the 9 foods. I'm going to go over them real quick. Remember, you can download these for free at fireyourmdnow.com. Wheat, barley, rye, and oats. That's right. Dr. Glidden says don't eat whole wheat, don't eat oatmeal. Imagine that. But wait a minute, it gets worse. No olive oil. Stay away from olive oil. Stay away from any oil in a bottle. Cut way back on your salad dressing. Don't fry anything. Fried food will kill you. The skins of baked potatoes, yams, and sweet potatoes. Well done meat, well done red meat. You can eat red meat rare, medium rare as much as you want. Nitrates added as preservatives to food will kill you. And carbonated beverages. I don't care if it's Perrier, sparkling water. If it's got bubbles in it, those bubbles are made from carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide neutralizes stomach acid. So when you wash down a meal with anything sparkling, anything bubbly, you're going to neutralize your stomach acid and make it virtually impossible for your stomach to pull the nutrients out of the food that you're eating the food to get in the first place. And this is what causes obesity. You heard me right. We know the secret to weight loss that not even Oprah knows. Weight gain is caused by a nutrient deficiency. It's a deficiency disease. It is not a disease of excess. Your body knows it's undernutrified, so your body makes you eat. Your body is smart. Your body has built-in God-given inherent wisdom that your MD is blind to. Your MD believes that consciousness is a function of biochemistry. Your MD does not have any working knowledge of the soul. And from our point of view, the soul is everything. It's the soul that animates the body, because guess what? When you die and Elvis leaves the building, the body decomposes. What's the difference biochemically between somebody who's dead and somebody who's alive 1 minute after they're dead? There's no difference. There might be a little bit of oxygen difference and the oxygen level difference in the blood, but the biochemicals are all the same. Why is it that the body decomposes? Because the soul has left the building. It's the soul that animates the body. Now, because Western medicine has never dissected the soul out of a corpse, to the Newtonian physics-based reductionistic allopathic pharmaceutical centrist MD, colorblind MD. It doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, therefore it can have it can have nothing to do with health or the lack thereof. And so the MDs have thrown the baby out with the bathwater, which is crazy and entirely hypocritical. Because if any MD has ever told you that they love their mother, they're being 100% hypocritical. And here's what I mean. Do you love your mother? Let me ask you the question. Do you love your mother? I can see everybody in radio land nodding their heads. Yes, of course I love my mother, Dr. Glidden. What are you talking about? You love your mother? Great. Prove it. Prove to me that you love your mother. I want you to set up some type of double-blinded, objective experiment that proves that you love your mother. Can you do that? No, you can't. Because there are a great number of things in this world which are beyond the ability of science to prove, and love is one of them. It is inherently a metaphysical phenomenon. It is a phenomenon which is beyond physics. It doesn't mean it's not real. It just means we don't have the stuff necessary to measure it and codify it. Now, because we can't prove it, therefore the MD thinks it doesn't exist, and the MD believes love is just a biochemical phenomenon. It's just an amalgamation of biochemicals in the body, and they're crazy. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Because there is a lot of stuff going on in the body that you have no conscious control over, and it is our contention that it is the unseen, inherent wisdom of the body, guided by the presence of the soul, that makes all this happen. So what do we do when we're helping people get better? We trust nature, we trust God. We give the body what it needs, stop eating the food that's gumming up the works, and voila, the body fixes itself. As God is my witness, fire your MD now. It's the best thing you can do. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is your lucky day. You've tuned in to Fire Your MD Now, and the information that you're going to learn by sticking with me for the next 20 years is going to change your life. And I just want to put a period on that last thought that I was expounding about. It's Friday. Expounding about in the last segment. So here's my position. MDs are trained in a Newtonian-based methodology, and it's reductionistic. Everything to them must be measured and codified. Everything, or, it's invalid. It's, placebo-control this and double-blind that, or for heaven's sakes, it's no good, right? That's their whole thing. Prove it. It is impossible to prove that you love somebody. The experience of love is a patently metaphysical phenomenon. It is beyond the ken of modern science, Newtonian science, to prove. You cannot prove it. So when a medical doctor, on the one hand, tells you that they love their mother or their wife, and on the other hand, they're MDs, they're being hypocritical 100%. That's like practicing being a Democrat when you're at home, but a communist when you're at work. It is 100% hypocritical. And nobody thinks about this. We give them a pass all the time. Really, we need to smarten up. And that's why we do this show. So download that 9-food, the good food, bad food list. Please stop eating those foods. Even if you just did that. Stopped eating all those foods. Didn't take any supplements. You're a knucklehead if you don't take supplements. But if you just stopped eating those 9 foods and, no pop or sparkling stuff during a meal, you're going to add 5 to 10 years to your life just like that. And you're going to notice a perceptible difference in your energy, your mood, your aches and pains within 4 weeks of taking that diet on. And this is the thing that drives everything we do forward. Results. I think we have Bruce on the line from Rockford, Illinois. Bruce, you have a question about inflammation? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, Dr. Glidden, good as always. Well, I stopped the bread, so, I do absorb the vitamins and minerals much, much better. It makes a huge difference. It works, like I say. But the oils, the olive oil, the corn, canola oil, it causes inflammation, which makes a disease. But why does it inflame the veins so bad?
We don't know. Well, theoretically, it's because the oils have become oxidized.
Okay, they run.
When you consume anything that's oxidized, you're pouring into your body particles called free radicals. Now, most of the time, free radicals are singlet oxygen atoms, but, regardless of their molecular form or atomic form, they're like metabolic Velcro. And they stick to everything. And when enough of them stick to something, whatever they stick to becomes oxidized, and oxidation destroys things. So that's why. And this is an interesting thing to talk about, because the whole Mediterranean diet, was built upon this false notion of olive oil. Let me quickly tell you how that panned out, because it's important. So years ago, statisticians looked, and they saw that if you lived on the coast of the Mediterranean, son of a gun, you lived 5 years longer than people who lived inland. And that was statistically significant, man. 5 years, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So they took a look, and they said, well, what do these people do different? Well, they eat fish and nuts and fruits and vegetables a lot more than the people inland, and they also use a lot of olive oil. Well, that's great. So that must be the key to adding an additional 5 years to your life, and that's what kicked off the whole Mediterranean diet, and the olive oil growers really took that ball and ran with it, right? Now, when they were collecting the data, they overlooked a very important data point. The island of Sardinia, which is off the toe of Italy, the people on the island of Sardinia lived 5 years longer than the people on the coast. They were the longest-lived people in the Mediterranean by 5 years, which, again, was statistically significant. They were the longest-lived people. And the only difference between the Sardinians and the people on the coast, the Sardinians hated olive oil. They didn't use it. They ate goats and sweet potatoes, I think. They did not use olive oil, not to the extent that the people on the coast did. So just by eliminating the oil, they added another 5 years to their lifespan. But the people crunching those numbers overlooked that data set. And that's how this whole ridiculous notion of the Mediterranean diet started. So if you really want to optimize and maximize your health and your lifespan, stop eating olive oil, or cut way, way, way down on it. Or better yet, if you just absolutely can't stop doing that, pour it off into a wine bottle, get one of those rubber stoppers and suck the air out of the bottle every time you use it, and keep it in the refrigerator. That way you'll knock the oxidation way down. And I don't ever want anybody to cook with oil. If you need to put it on a little bit of salad, well, maybe I'm okay with that. But the better thing to do is just get away from it, man. Use butter and lard and salt instead. You're going to love how you feel. Thanks for the call, Bruce. Helping you to figure it all out. Helping you to get informed so that when push comes to shove and you are up against it, when you have a health issue and it must be attended to, you're going to know where to go. Because right now you don't. Right now the only choice you have is the MD in the hospital. That's it. Maybe there's a chiropractor, but most of you aren't going to go to chiropractors for high blood pressure or for asthma. I certainly wouldn't recommend it. I love chiropractors. A good chiropractor is worth their weight in gold. Chiropractic medicine is fantastic, especially if you know a chiropractor who does applied kinesiology. They're fantastic stuff. Acupuncture, fantastic stuff. But, most of us aren't going to go there. Most of us have high blood pressure, or we've got asthma, or we've got eczema, or we've got type 2 diabetes. We're going to go to the MD. Just an automatic knee-jerk response. But the fact of the matter is that your MD is the worst person you can go to with a chronic health condition. They are the worst person you can go to. I mean, the facts bear it out, right? While the MDs have been driving the bus, our health is in the crapper. Prescription medicines are through the roof. Cost of medicine is through the roof. We're getting sicker every year and are losing our life expectancy, losing our kids. 1 out of 88 kids are born autistic. It's your doctor's fault. Got to place the blame. I'm not politically correct, and I'm proud of it. I'm not going to be an idiot. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to be a you-know-what, just for the sake of being a you-know-what. But I am going to draw a line in the sand and say, look, the MDs are who we trust to take care of us, and they've dropped the ball. You need to stop using their services. Call a spade a spade. They are the wrong dog for the hunt. Now, we were talking about oil and inflammation at the end of the last set. And by the way, folks, I'll give you that number once more, 866-582-9933. That's toll-free, 866-582-9933. Give me a call. Talk to me about any health issue you'd like to, and I will give you the holistic perspective on it and help lift you up and out of pain and suffering, because you don't know what you don't know. We were talking about inflammation, right? Inflammation is a very big deal. Inflammation is countered by a group of biochemicals in the body referred to as antioxidants. Antioxidants neutralize the biochemicals in the body which create oxidative damage, which causes inflammation. So if you want to knock down the inflammatory process in the body, you got to increase your intake of antioxidants, because that's the fire hose that puts out all of the little fires in the body. Now, there's an interesting piece of data here. There are a number of cultures around the world where people live to be over 100 years old and they're healthy. A Harvard researcher looked at all of these people years ago and coined the term the blue zones, because the people that live in these blue zones, it was just a name that this guy gave to these collectively, to where these people lived. Yeah, if you live in that part of the world, there's a 1 out of a 250 chance you're going to be over 100 and you're going to be healthy. And the people that live in the blue zones have no health care, no insurance, no doctors, no Walgreens, no prescription medicines. They don't have doctors. They don't have hospitals. They're lucky, for goodness sake, if they have a roof over their head. They're like third world, fourth world countries, man. I mean, these people are poor. And they're 105 years old and chopping down trees and carrying water. We're 80 years old and sitting in wheelchairs drooling and can't remember the name of our kids. Why is it that these people are so healthy, so old? Well, we have the genetic potential to make it to 120. Yeah, they say that in the Old Testament, man's years shall number 120. Any geneticist will tell you the same thing. The human body has the capacity to make it to 120 years old. The reason that we don't is because we do not nutrify the body. If you bought a brand new, Cadillac, brand new, top of the line automobile, and didn't ever change the oil, didn't ever change the oil filter, and put diesel fuel in the tank every day, it's an unleaded engine, that car is going to run like crap if it runs at all, and it's only a matter of time. You're going to get to 20,000, 30,000 miles, the engine's going to seize, because you didn't take care of it. Well, you're not taking care of your body. Why aren't you? Because your medical doctor is clueless about this, because your medical doctor doesn't practice health care. Your medical doctor practices disease management. It's drug-centered. So if you want to live the rest of your life taking drugs to, manage your illness, go right ahead. And you can eat whatever you want. You'll gain weight. Your heart will explode. Your blood pressure will go through the roof. You'll get type 2 diabetes. Your knees will collapse. Your shoulders will start to hurt. It'll be pain and suffering. Your hair will fall out. Your teeth will fall out. You'll get macular degeneration. They'll remove your gallbladder. Then they'll remove a kidney. And, they'll give you 4 or 5 different fake knees. And they won't pay you for the 4 or 5 that went bad. If you want to do that, go right ahead. You can. And this is the wonderful thing about the United States of America. Everybody gets to choose. But because the MDs have monopolized everything, we are not aware of what our options are. And it doesn't help that the MDs have gone out of their way to tell you that I'm a quack. Did you know that the MDs were convicted in federal court of promoting a 10-year slander campaign against the chiropractors? A very famous case called Wilkes versus the AMA. The American Medical Association was found guilty in federal court of promoting a 10-year slander campaign against the chiropractors, and they were ordered to pay the chiropractors $25 million in damages. It might seem like a lot of money, but not to the AMA. That's a drop in the bucket. So it was a job well done. They'd be happy to pay that price for a 10-year slander campaign that will increase their business, increase their profits, and decrease the profits of the chiropractors. That's why they did it. But I digress. Back to the blue zone people, right? My colleague, Dr. Wallach, figured it out. he looked at all of the cultures, all of these people who were living in the blue zones, and figured out what they all had in common. Now, one of the things that they all had in common was they didn't eat oil. That should be an alarm bell going off right there. They didn't eat oil. They also ate limited calorie diets. They were surviving on less than about 1,000, 1,200 calories a day, if that. And in the case of the Hunzas, they had something called starvation spring. Because they lived at such a high altitude, their growing season was extremely short, so they were only able to grow enough food to take them through, the month of March. By the time April and May got around, they ran out of food. They had to scavenge for whatever they could. It was called starvation spring. And modern medical research clearly shows that if you're on a restricted calorie diet, that's one of the keys to living a long and healthy life, a restricted calorie diet. A restricted calorie diet. No olive oil and a restricted calorie diet. Another thing that they did by mistake, they were putting wood ash into their food. Now, back in the day, before we had Clabber Girl baking powder, it was a common practice for people before the electrical age, when everybody was heating and cooking with wood, to keep the ash and put the white ash that was called pot ash because it was white, because it was directly underneath the pot, hanging, from the hook in the hearth, and that was the hottest part of the fire. So the wood directly underneath the pot, all the carbon was burned away, so the ash was bright white. So they took the pot ash and put it in their bread, put it in their soup, put it in their stews, put it in their food. They used it. It was called culinary ash. And the gray ash on the periphery of the fire, the people put in their gardens. Now, what's the big deal about that, Dr. Glidden? What do you want me to put ash in your food? Well, yes and no, because wood ash is almost 100% minerals. That's what it is. The little trees growing in the yard, and it's sucking the minerals up out of the soil, and it stores them. And it's more and more and more minerals. And so you chop the tree down, you burn it. You burn the cellulose, you burn the sugars, you burn the soluble fibers in the wood, and, what's left in the ash is the minerals. Because the heat of the fire isn't hot enough to degrade a mineral. You need a blast furnace to do that, and even that won't degrade it. It'll just consolidate the minerals. So wood ash is a multi-mineral supplement, but it's not only a multi-mineral supplement, it's a plant-derived mineral supplement. And plant-derived minerals are extremely easy for your body to absorb. It is the preferred form of minerals, or plant-derived minerals. If there's calcium sitting in the soil, that has a different molecular structure than calcium that's been absorbed and metabolized by the tree, or the plant, or the tomato, or the kumquat. Plant-derived minerals are extremely easy to absorb. That's one of the reasons why we need to eat fruits and vegetables, for the minerals. But the minerals can't be manufactured by the plant. They can only be sucked up out of the soil. So if the tree's growing in soil that doesn't have any selenium or calcium in it, guess what? There's not going to be any selenium or calcium in the ash. All right? So wood ash is a good source of minerals, but there's no wood ash anywhere in the world that will give you all of the minerals that the human body needs. But the indigenous cultures were getting a multi-mineral supplement just by putting the ash into their food, which gave them a leg up health-wise, gave them more nutrition than their contemporaries, right, who weren't doing that. Now, the other thing the people in these blue zones were doing, and by the way, the people in the modern-day blue zones, right, didn't have electricity, and so they were still heating and cooking with wood, and they were still using the wood ash, which was one of the keys to their long health. And the last thing that they did, they didn't have any fried food at all. They didn't fry food. Nobody in these blue zones fried food. Zero. Now, fried food contains acrylamide. Acrylamide is carcinogenic and pro-inflammatory, and acrylamide will take easily 5 years off of your lifespan, maybe 10. That's how nasty fried food is. The last thing they were doing is they were inadvertently, unwittingly consuming food or beverages. In the case of the Bama people in southwestern China, they had this stuff called snakeskin wine. It was a wine that they made. It had snakeskins in it, right? The Okinawans had yams, and The Vilcabambas had this special chocolate preparation that they made. It wasn't Hershey's chocolate, by the way. It was Aztec recipe chocolate, which is quite a bit different. But these foods that they were, making, just because that's what their culture did, were loaded with antioxidants. And I mean loaded. The average American consumes 1,200 antioxidant points a day. And an antioxidant point is called an ORAC point. That's O-R-A-C. It's an acronym for oxygen radical absorption capacity. Oxygen radical absorption capacity, ORAC points. That's how antioxidants are measured. The average American consumes 1,200 ORAC antioxidant points a day. 1,200. The people in the blue zone, 20,000. By mistake, by accident, 20,000. So one of the keys to longevity is a calorie, well, here's what you want to do. You want to live a long and healthy life, restrict your calories to 1,200 a day, no oil, no fried food, and take 1,200 antioxidant points a day. And you get it from anywhere you can. If you don't want to hunt and peck in the food chain for foods that are rich in antioxidants, just get chocolate from us and our secret sauce, liquid plant minerals. We've already collected them, purified them, put them in a bottle just for you. One bottle of liquid plant minerals per 100 pounds of body weight will make you a different person. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Lift yourself up into health because you can. So what these people did in the blue zones, by accident, was remove food. They just were not eating food because it just wasn't in their cultural thing. They didn't have access to it. They were not eating food that hurt them. They weren't doing that. They were not putting diesel fuel into an unleaded tank, right? And by accident, they were mineralizing their body with the wood ash. And by accident, they were getting 20,000 antioxidant points a day into their body. And this is the recipe for longevity. This is it. So, do you have to start burning wood and collecting the ash and putting it into your food? No, because we've already done that. And remember, we haven't burned the wood. We got the minerals from someplace else. But remember, there's no soil anywhere on the planet that gives you all 60 minerals that your human body needs. It doesn't exist. So even if you did that, you would still be under-mineralized because the soil doesn't have all 60 minerals that your body needs in order to keep itself healthy. But you don't have to do that because we've done the heavy lifting for you. We have scoured the planet. We have found a source of, actually there's 72 plant-derived minerals, 100% certified organic, in our nutritional supplements. And this is one of the keys to the success of longevity. No other company has these. They just don't. We're the only ones that can get these minerals. We have the mining rights to a mineral deposit in southern Utah where these 72 or 77 plant-derived colloidal minerals exist. We're the only ones that can mine them. We're the only ones. This is Dr. Wallach's genius. We have had this dialed in for 30 years. When you take the nutritional supplements that give your body everything that your body needs, and you increase your intake of foods high in antioxidants and supplements that are high in antioxidants, and you clean up your diet, guess what? Your body's going to fix itself. Why? Because it can. And this is our fundamental difference. We know how to support and promote the body's ability to fix itself. Your MD does not believe that your body can fix itself. Because they don't, and if they do, their therapeutics certainly don't support and promote that, because you cannot support and promote your body's ability to fix itself by delivering a synthetic drug or surgery. You just can't do it. It's a fool's errand. Now listen, my colleague, Dr. Wallach, figured all this out 30 years ago. He figured it out. And he also had direct personal experience that the front door of medicine was guarded by the pharmaceutical industry. There is no way on God's green earth we can get our message of health recovery through medical nutrition to the masses of suffering people that need it through normal scientific channels. We can't do it. Medicine is monopolized and corrupted by the pharmaceutical industry in the United States. And if you don't believe that, you have your head in the sand. So if you discovered that buttercups cured cancer, what would you do? Would you sit on it and would you keep it a secret? No. You try to tell as many people as you possibly could, hey, guess what? Buttercups cure cancer. That's what you would do. Well, that's what Dr. Wallach did. He set up, now I'm not saying buttercups cure cancer, it was just an example. You got me? When Dr. Wallach figured out how to support and promote healthy joints, healthy blood pressure, healthy blood sugar levels, healthy central nervous systems, right? When he figured out how to do this after $25 million of federally funded research, he set his company up as a networked business, and he did it on purpose. Because we are growing a grassroots coalition of the informed, and we need your help. We need your help, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to go to fireyourmdnow.com. Click on the Join Us button and join us. It costs $10. It's a $10 one-time entry-level fee. Now, get your feet wet with this business. I will personally train you how to do this. I will take the reins. I will help you understand how to spread our message of health recovery through medical nutrition. And really, you know, we need your help. And everybody has a vitamin M deficiency, right? Money. Everybody needs extra money. Keeps you warm in the winter, keeps you cool in the summer, lets you go places you've always dreamed out, right? We need money. I can help you to increase your vitamin M by helping your friends and family and church members to increase their health. It doesn't get any better than that. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for health, thanking you for listening to me for another week. We'll be back next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Check us out, fireyourmdnow.com.